Let me say a special good morning to our listeners via Classic Radio, whether you're listening 105.5 or 105.9. Good morning to you. Welcome to another edition of To The Point. I'm your host, GT. Let me also take the time to say good morning to our viewers via GBN TV. You're viewing Channel 7, Channel 11, or Channels 20. Good morning. Welcome. Our social media audience around the world. Good morning to you. The Facebook page users, of course, those of you via our YouTube channels. Good morning and welcome to another edition of To The Point. It's Wednesday, the 28th day of June within the year 2023, and it's always I was taken aback this morning. I was actually thinking today was like Thursday. For some reason I wanted to just leave off a day during this week, but sometimes it happens like that. Anyway, usually on Wednesdays we do entertain various departments within the government, and this morning we do have a representative from government that does this morning who will be representing government this morning on the program with the likes of Mr. Forrester. We should be joining him shortly. And we have various issues we'll be talking about this morning. We'll be focusing on the CARICOM 50th anniversary. We'll be focusing a lot upon that. Also, we're going to have a snippet with Terry, of course, is going to fill in and give us a little bit of a review of government's 1 year in office. So, of course, they had various activities that passed through the last week, and we're going to make a quick review of that. Well, our main focus this morning will be on CARICOM's 50th anniversary, and which is going to lead up to some of the activities taking place here in Grenada. Let's go over to Mr. Forrester and say good morning. Good morning to you, sir. How are you doing?
Good morning, GT. Thank you very much, and good morning to all your esteemed listeners and viewers. And as you indicated, this morning's discussion is really focused on the 50th anniversary of CARICOM, and I am pleased to be sitting in for recently appointed Ambassador Moses, who is the CARICOM ambassador. But before we proceed, GT, I wish to extend condolences on behalf of the National Democratic Congress, led by political leader and Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell, to the government and people of Barbados on the passing of its fourth Prime Minister, the Honorable Sir Lloyd Erskine Sandiford.
Yes.
He passed at the age of 86, and he is remembered as one of Barbados's post-independence political architects, particularly in the area of education. He served his country for more than 3 decades in the politics. He was a member of the Democratic Labour Party and ran for elections in 1971. He served as Prime Minister in 1987, just after the death of Prime Minister Errol Barrow in 1987. So we join in extending condolences to the government and people of Barbados on the loss of their fourth Prime Minister. So we just want to bow for just a moment of silence in respect of his passing. Okay, so as you...
Yes, Terry, so we're back, and of course our condolences goes out to his family and also the government and people of Barbados. As we proceed this morning, as I indicated in my intro, let's have a quick review of government's 1 year in office. Various activities took place last week to commemorate the 1 year of government of the NDC picking up the role of governing Grenada, and give us your take on our review of the 1 year and of course how the activities rolled out.
Well, thank you, GT. The activities were all extremely successful, from the 16th of June with the United We Dance event out in St. John, and then we moved on to the national address. All the events were extremely successful, well attended, overpacked, especially the one out in St. Andrew. This went on probably way past 11:30. because, the number of questions and the interaction, etc., that took place out there with the people and their parliamentary representatives. The last event, which was the bingo on the 25th at the National Stadium, that in itself was, I would say, oversubscribed, because we were a bit taken aback at the large turnout. It was extremely successful indeed. CARICOM also had equally, successful events, and the entire celebration to mark the first year of the party in government went exceedingly well indeed. And the Prime Minister's presentation at the Radisson Ballroom was really touching, and he really got several applauses for his presentation. But I have mentioned before, there have been so many accomplishments that due to time he was not able to touch on all of them, of course, and more so out in St. Andrew, Grenville, because he was the last presenter, which was close to 11 o'clock, and Prime Minister, using his wisdom, thought it best just to, just give a snippet, say hello and hi to the folks, and, try to bring the event to a close. But the things that, stand out for me as some of the achievements of government is for example, the tax amnesty, which is still on. It's for 1 year up to December 31st. And all individuals, businesses, corporations, private individuals should try to take advantage of this tax amnesty. It's up to the 31st of December this year. Then you had the zero-rated items on food items like cooking oil, beans, cooking gas, and gas itself for vehicles. The bi-monthly salaries continue to show that it's having very positive impact on the economy, and individuals are enjoying the opportunity to have salaries twice a month. Not two salaries, but your salary half twice a month. Of course, the pensioners continue to praise the government for really taking them out of poverty. The return of teachers' dock salaries, you have a totally different atmosphere in schools these days. The return of intercall, that is as a result of the payment of the dock salaries back to teachers, because what I'm sure the public is aware, but just to repeat, teachers go beyond the call of duty, way beyond the call of duty. And they provide so many other services and so forth in the schools that they need to be encouraged in order to continue providing these services. So the return of intercall is a major event, especially for the kids. Government has also lowered the cost on electricity, although we don't have really control over the cost of what it comes in at when you import the oil and all that is required to produce electricity. But there was a lowering of the cost, although it is still high, but a lowering of the cost was actually effective. And then you've had the introduction of the new ministry, the creative industry. That really created quite a stir, positive one though. And that ministry is progressing nicely. It has provided a new lease on life for the creatives in the country. And as you know, GT, we have a lot of creative people in Grenada, and they see this as a great opportunity for them to take advantage of. They have duty-free concessions on the importation of the paraphernalias, and this is an opportunity that they should really take advantage of.
All right.
So the whole notion of volunteerism in the country seemed to be now returning. people are cleaning up their communities and just contributing their time, their skills, and their talent in uplifting their villages, their community. This is really, really great. I recall this was paramount during the revolution, and people came out and just really helped their communities, helped the government, and helped themselves, essentially. So you're seeing this returning, which is an intangible but extremely, extremely important indeed. People's pride, that is returning. There is a kind of a freshness in the air, and people are willing to serve and to be of service to the country. So all in all, it was a very exciting and extremely gratifying moment for the first anniversary of the party in government. And they continue to press on. For a young team was considered inexperienced, their show hit the mark 100% after 1 year in office.
Right.
And let's see what the second year brings.
All right.
There are obviously a lot of challenges, but they are up to the task. And I'm really pleased to see their performance over the past year and look forward to greater things as we enter the second year of service.
Terry, let me also ask you this. We see the opposition party has also came out and make some statements pertaining to the 1 year anniversary, not given too much a positive light on some of the accomplishments. What's your take on some of the reviews that was given by the opposition?
Well, I would not expect the opposition to give much kudos. The fact of the matter is they were there for 3 terms, and it is amazing that they can see the mote in someone else's eye right now. But the opposition had a great opportunity, great support from the Grenadian public, and eventually the Grenadian public just got totally fed up of all the issues and problems and false promises and so forth that were made, and decided to have a change of governance. Give this government a chance. They are showing great and positive impetus. In 4 years' time, judge them. But it's really too early to judge and to criticize, etc. The opposition should be ashamed to even speak about any possible wrongdoings of this administration. What they're doing now is cleaning up and rectifying and bringing about some sort of order in the governance of this country.
All right. Thank you so much. Here we do for a break in this segment. Let's take our first break. When we come back, we get into our, of course, main focus, our conversation this month, which is on CARICOM's 50th anniversary. When we do come back, we get into that. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point for today, Wednesday. We're coming right back.
At the NIS, our team proudly works to support the evolving needs of Grenadians. We have made some changes to our operations and want to keep you informed. Firstly, we are happy to introduce the new unemployment benefit. This benefit will provide an insured person with 50% of his or her former income in the case of sudden unemployment. To support this benefit and other benefits we offer, it was necessary to increase the contribution rate. The contribution rate will increase gradually each year until it reaches 16% in 2031. As always, the contribution will be split between you and your employer. The pensionable age will also increase from 60 to 65 years. This increase will also be gradually reaching age 65 in 2029. Pensioners will continue to be eligible for a pension from age 60, but will receive a reduced payment. The NIS recognizes that the prices of basic customer goods are increasing globally. Therefore, we are happy to also increase the weekly minimum pension payment by 25%. Finally, we have adjusted our survivor's benefit payment to a percentage of the age pension minimum. widows, widowers, and dependent parents will receive 100% or $58 weekly, while children will receive 50% or $29 weekly of the deceased's pension. We are here to make the transition to these new changes as clear and simple as possible. If you have any questions on how these changes impact you and your family, please contact our new informational hotline at 440-6647 or visit www.nisgrenada.org. Thank you for allowing us to be your social security provider.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. Welcome back to The Point for today, Wednesday, the 20th day of June. I'm your host, GT. I will be with you until it's 10 a.m. this morning. Also, I have with me Mr. Terrance Forrester, representing, of course, the government side. That we do host the government side every Wednesday here on To The Point. Terry, welcome back. Welcome back once again. And Terry, as I mentioned, of course, before we took the break, our main conversation this morning will be on CARICOM's 50th anniversary, and it's going to be a grand celebration, as we're hearing, will be taking place in terms of lots of activities in all of the countries that are part of the CARICOM. Now, let's get into the conversation this morning. Tell us, let's start from the beginning. CARICOM. Tell us about the historical formation of CARICOM, its membership, the mandate, and so forth. Tell us about that.
All right. Well, thank you again, GT. And just to reiterate, I'm sitting in this morning for Ambassador Aaron Moses. He's the CARICOM ambassador. He is unable to be with GBN this morning, so I've been asked to sit in. So pardon me if I would read from some of my notes, which I had to prepare last night. So, yes, so the formation of CARICOM and its signing in Trinidad and Tobago took place on the 4th of July, 1973 in Chaguaramas, which then became known as the Treaty of Chaguaramas. That was, preempted by struggles of the West Indies Federation in 1958 and later CARIFTA in 1972, which in fact gave birth to CARICOM in 1973. But the determination of Caribbean leaders to create an economic and political union dates back to 1682. Now, the signing of the Treaty of Chaguaramas in Trinidad, which gave legality to CARICOM on 4th July 73, was first signed by 4 prime ministers. They were Errol Barrow of Barbados, Prime Minister Forbes Burnham of Guyana. He was President Forbes Burnham. Then you had Prime Minister Michael Manley of Jamaica and Prime Minister Dr. Eric Williams of Trinidad and Tobago. Now, CARICOM is a political and economic union and now has 15 nations and 5 associated members. The membership consists of Antigua, Barbuda, the Bahamas, Belize, Dominica, Grenada, Guyana, Jamaica, Montserrat, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Kitts and Nevis, Trinidad and Tobago, and Haiti and Suriname were later admitted to CARICOM. Now, the associated members are Anguilla, Bermuda, the British Virgin Islands, Cayman Islands, and the Turks and Caicos Islands. You ask about the mandate of CARICOM, and this rests on 4 pillars: economic integration, foreign policy coordination, human and social development, and security. CARICOM's motto is "Together we aspire, together we achieve." And it is celebrating its 50th anniversary come 4th of July, 2023.
All right. Interesting. Let me also ask you this. Now, before CARICOM came into being, what organization existed? And could you probably highlight for me what caused its failure?
Well, CARICOM revised Treaty of Chaguaramas was intended to create the CARICOM single market and economy, first of all. The revised treaty is intended to allow CARICOM goods and services and people and capital to move freely without restriction. But you ask about what caused the failure of the previous organization.
Yes.
And I'll tell you that the West Indies Federation, which started in 1958, this was initiated by the British government, coming together to try and create a political union among the island member states. The Governor General at the time was Lord Hales of Britain, and the Premier of Barbados was Sir Grantley Adams. There were 10 territories involved, and the West Indies Federation attempts dates way back to 1682, as I indicated, when the Leeward Islands of Antigua, St. Kitts, Nevis, Anguilla, Montserrat, the British Virgin Islands, and Dominica joined in this Federal Assembly. But unfortunately, that soon, collapsed. The fact is, the history and determination of Caribbean leaders to unite the region is well documented, and not without the challenges and feelings, they pursued an agenda of unification. Now, the West Indies Federation itself died in 1961, and the reasons, as you requested, Jamaica was dissatisfied with its limited proportional representation in the federal parliament at the time, as compared to the total population of the rest of the federation. In other words, Jamaica felt that its representation on this proposed federal parliament was limited, that they did not have sufficient representation when they compared their population to the rest of the region's population. There was also a second issue of Britain's delayed independence to the rest of the islands. That also caused Jamaica to be quite concerned. Jamaica then called for a national referendum on West Indies Federation in 1961. And the people of Jamaica voted no to federation. 54.1% of the population voted no to federation at the time. So in 1962, the West Indies Federation naturally collapsed. And that brought into being, after years, the CARIFTA Free Trade Association, which was a free trade agreement which lasted from 1965 to 1972. But thanks to CARIFTA, that gave birth to the Caribbean Community and Common Market. Now, CARIFTA was initiated in 1965 by the political leaders of Guyana, Barbados, and Antigua, in the hope of finding a Caribbean economic integration model. And by 1968, all the other islands joined CARIFTA. Now, CARIFTA in 1972, with Jamaica, Trinidad, Guyana, and Barbados, all agreed to deepen the free trade integration process, thus forming the Caribbean Community and Common Market, CARICOM, which was formalized by the Treaty of Chaguaramas in Trinidad. And that's essentially how CARICOM came into being. Obviously, it had a rather troubled path. But all in all, when you look back into the history, you would see the clear determination of Caribbean leaders to create political unity and economic coming together in order to have a united front of the Caribbean. So we must give praise and thanks to our past Caribbean leaders who struggled and fought their way to ensure that we have a strong organization today known as CARICOM. Albeit it has its shortcomings, and I would want us to discuss some of the things I believe CARICOM ought to be doing in order to create more awareness as to what CARICOM is doing.
I mean, in your interpretation, what do you feel are some of the things that you think, as you speak of shortcomings, in that last statement you made? What are some of those shortcomings, or what are the things you think that folks in CARICOM could be doing that would aid more in terms of for its member states?
Well, actually, public education, public information has been lacking about CARICOM for decades. And you talk about the 4th of July, 50th anniversary. You ask the average student or the average Grenadian, when you speak of 4th of July, what comes to your mind? And the first thing that comes to the average Grenadian or Caribbean person's mind
the American independence.
The American independence.
Yes.
And here it is, we have had an organization that has been so strong, so well embedded in the Caribbean, and not many persons know about CARICOM. So CARICOM really needs to educate its people, and each member state has the responsibility to educate its population. And I would strongly recommend, as a matter of fact, Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell has already alluded to the fact that local history and Caribbean history must be taught in schools, because our students don't know anything about CARICOM. You ask the average student, 4th or 5th former, about CARICOM. They don't know anything about CARICOM.
I agree.
And this is where CARICOM has failed. Although, they have done great things in the region. They have established great institutions, but not very many persons know about CARICOM. 4th of July should now be known in the region as the birthday of CARICOM. Granted, we can always remember.
Could I chime in on you here, Terry? And actually,
sure.
do you see it deemed as being appropriate using 4th of July as CARICOM Day celebrations here in Grenada and other islands of the Caribbean, knowing that 4th of July is the Independence Day in the U.S.? Do you see that date as being appropriate? Or could another date be true?
It is appropriate because that was the date.
I understand that the date was the date, but but I'm just saw in just a way of just having been a little more outstanding for us. Would you think another date would have been more appropriate?
Well, probably that should have been discussed with the founding fathers in 1973. Because I doubt whether if the independence of the United States was on their mind at the time. It just so happened that it was the signing date in Trinidad and Tobago for the CARICOM, and CARICOM started off with just these 4 leaders. Others joined thereafter. But CARICOM is a formidable organization and has lasted for 50 years, which is considered to be, quite an accomplishment. And it's expected to continue for another 50 years and more.
All right.
So congratulations to the founding fathers and all those who labored and persevered to ensure that CARICOM was indeed established. So notwithstanding its shortcomings and so forth. But I believe from henceforth, CARICOM will certainly be known better in the region, and Grenada in particular would be promoting the goodness of CARICOM and the benefits of CARICOM to the region and to Grenada, etc.
Terry, let me also ask you this before we move on to another question I would like to ask you, but I would just ask you along that line. Let me ask you this. Would the 4th of July be an annual holiday, or is it just for this year, the 50th anniversary?
Well, Well, it's for the 50th anniversary. I'm not sure if it would be annual, but I would imagine that it probably would be, because if you want to maintain prominence and you want people to remember this great organization, then it should be an annual, but I don't know.
All right.
All I do know is that this 4th of July, to commemorate the 50th anniversary, is a public holiday, and there are activities to mark the event, and with your permission, I'd like to
go right ahead.
Just go into the activities. So on Thursday 29th, there is an engagement with students to talk about CARICOM and the Caribbean single market and economy. And on Sunday, July the 2nd, there is a road relay in conjunction with the Grenada Athletic Association. That relay, the route will be from the stadium car park to Melville Street, then onto the tunnel, then through the Carnage, onto Tantine, onto Paddock, onto Springs, Woodlands, the Grandlands Valley area, up and down Maurice Bishop Highway, the Montrouge Loop, onto Montrouge Plainfield. Now that is the relay route for Sunday the 2nd. And on Monday, July 3rd, there will be a flag-raising ceremony at the Botanical Gardens. There will be a fitness walk and cultural extravaganza. Now, the fitness walk starts at the Ministerial Complex at 2:30 p.m. That's on Monday, July 3rd, and ends at Cameron Park. Now, at the park, there will be cultural events, including calypsonians, steel band, dancers, etc. Also, a mini trade show, and food and drinks will be on sale, showcasing CARICOM cuisine. The event will be from 3 o'clock in the afternoon till 6:30 p.m., and that is on Monday, the 3rd of July. So after that fitness walk, you can then, join this event, which will be like a cultural event taking place from 3 o'clock to 6 p.m. at the Cameron Park. So the Thursday, 4th of July, has been declared a public holiday in Grenada. So I trust that Grenadians will give full support. All the hashers in Grenada who love to run, who love to walk, coming out and be part of this event on Monday the 3rd is the fitness walk. As I said, it starts at the Ministerial Complex at 2:30 p.m. and ends at Cameron Park. And then at the park, you have this massive cultural event taking place from 3 o'clock till 6:30 p.m. And prior to that, you have the Sunday, July 2nd, road relay in conjunction with the GAA, Grenada Athletic Association. And on these routes, they obviously will be handing over the baton to the next relay. So it goes all through, as I indicated, it starts at the stadium car park, onto Melville Street, the tunnel, Carnage, Tantine, Paddock, Springs, Woodlands, Grandlands Valley. They go up and down the Maurice Bishop Highway, onto Montrouge Loop, and then onto the Montrouge Plainfield. And as I've said, Monday the 3rd of July is the flag-raising ceremony at the Botanical Gardens and the fitness walk and cultural extravaganza. And the fitness walk starts at the Ministerial Complex at 2:30 and ends at the Cameron Park with a massive cultural event, including music, entertainment, steel band, dancers, etc. And come and savor some of the CARICOM cuisine from the various CARICOM destinations. And that will be on Monday, July 3rd, because the 4th, Tuesday, will be a public holiday. So no excuse. Try and come on out and be part of the celebrations to mark CARICOM's 50th anniversary.
So we hope all folks come out and certainly be part of it. Terry, I want to ask you this also. Now, I see the phones going. I'm sure there are folks out there who may want to contribute to the conversation this morning, and we certainly give them an opportunity shortly. Let me ask you, though, what's in your opinion is the objective of the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, and how does it fit Grenada and the region or its member countries?
Well, the CARICOM revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, or its It was intended to create the CARICOM single market and economy. And the revised treaty is intended to allow CARICOM's goods and services, people and capital to move freely without restrictions so as to create a single large economic space. It's a work in progress since 2002. And it is continuing because, you see, you have different regulations in different destinations. So it's a process that takes time. Each government has to give approval, full recommendations, etc. So these things normally take a little time to get processed. But it is continuing, and I believe that CARICOM will certainly survive for another 50 years and will bring real tangible benefits to the people of the Caribbean.
Okay. Another question that came forward is what does the CARICOM agreement call? What is the CARICOM agreement call for, and how are the decision of CARICOM actually made?
Well, let me just state that first of all, CARICOM, and it's important that especially students are aware of this. CARICOM developed many regional institutions to the benefit of all of us and all its members. We have the Caribbean Development Bank, we have the Caribbean Investment Corporation, we have the Caribbean Court of Justice, we have the CXC Examination Council, that's an entity of CARICOM. You have the Caribbean Public Health Agency. You have the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, which is CDEMA. You have the Caribbean Law Institute, the Caribbean Meteorology and Hydrology Agency. So CARICOM has provided a significant number of strong organizations in the region, and they continue to provide great service to the various member states in Grenada.
Okay, I think we do have a caller online who wants to contribute to the conversation this morning. Let's go to the phone line and say good morning to the caller. Caller, good morning and welcome.
Yeah, morning, GP, and morning, Mr. Forrester.
Good morning, good morning.
It's interesting that the issue of the date came up between you, because I think that's the first contradiction and the first misstep CARICOM made. And I'm wondering, based on my knowledge, because there were some double agents among the leaders, that they did that on purpose. I mean, that was a different conversation. So if people remember, there was a time when the two best carnivals in the Caribbean was Trinidad and Grenada. And the Trinidad Carnival affected Grenada Carnival so much that people used to leave and go down to Trinidad. Hence, we had to change the date to August, eventually after many years of, talking here and there. So the fact that we celebrating this year, and for the first time after 50 years, I mean, it took us 50 years to celebrate it, albeit on the same day. Uncle Sam have their day. I mean, it tells you something. The lack of even respect that some of the leaders have for the Caribbean, the CARICOM. In fact, even if this year we were going to have it, this should have been announced since the beginning of the year, the ending of last year, so that people will be able to prepare. I'm not trying to devalue the effort, but to me it's the whole lack of seriousness. And until the people of the Caribbean become integrally involved in the activities of CARICOM, even to influence CARICOM. For instance, the CARICOM came up with a charter of civil society charter. This thing was never implemented, and civil society was marginalized over the years, given and the private sector being given the green light most of the time, and the private sector being a woeful institution. So unless, and this is mainly private sector people benefit from that, not the people themselves. So we have to really, I mean, I'm not saying we should get rid of CARICOM. CARICOM have a lot of value. But to me, we're wagging the dog, wagging the tail. Look what happened at the beginning of COVID when Mia Motley was cited as one of the outstanding leaders of the world in terms of her response to the COVID. And yet she was in a speech, was still asking the so-called developed world to take the lead in terms of dealing with the whole COVID. Why we can't see ourselves as being leaders and have to think about other people leading us? Look what happened earlier in the year, where I think it happened in the Bahamas, where Uncle Sam and his brother in Canada organized CARICOM to have Zelensky, that criminal from Ukraine, to lecture them, talking about rule-based law. Look at what's happening in Haiti. Why CARICOM have not been able to do anything is because, again, they can't go against anything that Uncle Sam and others are involved in the destabilization of Haiti or the Somaalization of Haiti. When nothing could happen there, look how CARICOM are being impotent. And look, up to now, we say Haiti is a member of CARICOM, yet we still discriminate against Haitians. I mean, there's a lot I could talk about, but I think maybe we should use this opportunity to really reflect and ask ourselves, are we really serious? And who should be involved in the process? And I would say, I end here by saying, unless the people themselves become, look, I mean, we don't even have transport in the region to move. Look at how expensive. No, Virgin Airline, whatever it is, coming to relieve us. I mean, something is wrong with our mindset as people and leaders. So I hope that at least we could use this opportunity to renew our commitment to each other as a region. Uncle Sam coming back here to the IDB, there are new plans. We're not even aware of that. All these schemes and machinations, we have to be alert because CARICOM continues to be on the mind. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution. Great contribution there from the caller. Certainly made a lot of sense.
Thank you. Thank you indeed, caller. But you've made a statement that the people of Grenada and the region are not benefiting from CARICOM or words to that effect. And I wish to disagree because the universities of Guyana, the university in Barbados, etc., UWI, lots of our students, our leaders, have had the opportunity to study at these institutions. These were, in fact, created by CARICOM. They are being of CARICOM. And there are a lot of benefits for the people of the region with these organizations that I mentioned earlier. They all provide service to the people of the region. So to say that the people are not personally benefiting from CARICOM is not totally correct. What is important to note is that the annual heads of the region, they meet once a year to make decisions. And these decisions are given shape by the Common Market Council of CARICOM. And the decisions are then implemented by the CARICOM Secretariat based in Georgetown, Guyana. So I think while it is fair to say that the Secretariat should take some blame for one, lack of information about CARICOM, publicity regarding CARICOM and its benefits to member states, and just general PR about CARICOM has been lacking for decades. And indeed, we do have areas of failings, and as you rightfully alluded to, transportation. But when you consider transportation in the region, the majority of all the governments, almost 50% of the cost of travel tickets is associated with taxes. So if we are to really look into that situation of transportation, we first and foremost have to appeal to the governments in the region to lower their taxes. But then again, the governments in the region, they are so cash-strapped, put it that way, because of lack of natural resources. Most of us don't have oil, we don't have gold, we don't have silver, we don't have other, natural valuables that we can export. So it is challenging financially to run most countries in the region. So taxes is a main support base in running governments all over the region. Even in Trinidad, with its oil and pitch and gas, etc., they too have their own challenges. So as we continue to look at CARICOM, we probably need to call upon the Secretariat to be more inclusive and to be more sharing of information to its member states. But that does not take away the responsibility of each member state government providing information to the general public on CARICOM.
All right. Terry, we do have another caller. Let's entertain it. Caller, good morning, and good morning to you.
Indeed. Good morning, Mr. Telesford, and good morning to Mr. Forrester. I trust you can hear me.
Good morning. Yes, indeed.
I'd attempt to speak slowly this morning because I want this point to sink in. I do commend Mr. Forrester on his very pertinent, appropriate, worthwhile, historical information shared with the people this morning. I laud and applaud you on it. But here's my question. To you, Mr. Forrester, who do you represent? Because indeed I ask this question too because you were presented by the host as a representative of the government. Are you being paid for this task, Mr. Forrester? Yes
no,
or no?
Mr. Rollo.
Pardon?
I am here in my capacity as the assistant PRO of the National Democratic Congress.
There we go. Thank you very much, sir. And this is my problem. My problem is that we fail to see what a disaster this government stroke party has done to this country over the years. We have to separate. You, as a party representative, has no authority to speak on behalf of the state apparatus. Your information is good. Where is the government information service in all of this? Where is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs? Where are the people that the state employs to do this job? Partisanism is continuing to interfere with the state apparatus, and this is dangerous. And I would like to recommend to Grenadians that they seek to get it stopped. And I call upon the state apparatus to look at what is happening in the system and put the people hired to do the specific jobs within the public service what they're being paid for. Management is the name of the game. We have to end the partisan demagoguery that's been ruining this country for years. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rollo. This is nothing new, Brother Rollo. The time on GBN this morning essentially is the time afforded to the government side, and the government side has the privilege to so appoint anyone they so wish to represent itself at that point in time on any program. Matter of fact, it could have been someone like an investor, or could be someone of interest that they'd like to invite on the program to share information to the general public. So do not attack the speaker. Matter of fact, there is no attack that should be leveled at anyone. It's a matter of sharing information to the general public, and it's no matter whatsoever of invigilating one's way into governance. It's not that whatsoever.
All right. Let's entertain another caller. We may have lost that caller. We due for a break, Mr. Forrester. Let's take it for this segment. We have approximately 10 minutes left on today's program. Let's take that break, and when we come back, we continue with of course, with To The Point here on Classic Radio and GBN TV. We coming right back, folks. Stay with us.
More chances to multiply your Playway winnings by adding Multi-X to your regular Playway bets to win up to 5 times more. Imagine winning as much as $1,200 instead of $240 with a $10 Playway bet by simply adding Multi-X. Place your Playway bets from $1 to $10 or in increments on your favorite Playway symbols or numbers. Then add the Multi-X option at the same value to win 2 times, 3 times, 5 times more, or free plays. With Multi-X, you must bet the same amount wagered on your regular Playway bets for your winnings to be multiplied. Grenadians, value your dreams and win your way as much as 5 times more with Multi-X added to Playway, and watch your money grow. Must be 18 years or older to play. NLA, making your dreams come true.
We say, yeah, GBN we say, arts and culture living, yeah. Rock the box we say, I'm telling you, rock the box, rock the box, rock the box we say, I'm telling you, rock the box, rock the box, rock the box we say, we'll be jamming here on a Thursday.
Welcome back to our listeners and viewers. It's To The Point for today, Wednesday, the 28th day of June. We inside of the final moments of today's program, just approximately 7 minutes or so left on today's program. With me this morning, we have Mr. Terry Forrester with me this morning, and we probably could entertain another caller or two if they come in really quickly and keep their comments a bit short so that we could get a bit of a summary from Mr. Forrester before we take a wrap for today. Let's entertain this caller. Caller, good morning and welcome. Good morning to you, caller.
Greetings. How are you?
Not too bad, sir. Go right ahead with your comment, please.
And I guess I can say happy, 4th July CARICOM Day coming up.
Yep.
I think I've been hearing in recent times what I would describe as a political slogan. Take Susu in your whatever. And this morning, I'm trying to see if maybe the Grenadian people can also recognize a slogan. Take transformation in you. Take transformation. I sit behind the background as to what is happening this morning, especially when your host, I think your guest, Brother Forrester, verify his position on the program this morning in response to the previous caller. And in substance, your guest made the point that as a government program, indeed, a government slot, the government can assign anyone it wishes to represent it. Hence the reason, transformation in you. We can have a CBI agent, citizen by investment person with a Grenadian passport, a Russian, or some other person, being on the national, in what he calls airwave, and giving us information on behalf of our sovereign state, Grenada. Take transformation in you. Finally, I will try to be round up here. But Forrester, the previous caller applaud your presentation in terms of maybe the quality. It was good. But I'm still concerned about the accuracy of it. And if you can clarify in terms of specific dates, when the University of the West Indies and or the University of Guyana was established. And by what means this university and some of the institutions that you mentioned, they were created because of the establishment of CARICOM, you could be correct. But if we are going to inform our young people and to have them have information, the information don't have to be only to be good, but accurate. It's my humble opinion, many years now, that I'm sorry for the generation to come, and even this generation, because they have been fed with diluted, corrupted information without the facts, the specific facts presented. So I'm giving you a challenge. I could be wrong. Give the population the exact date when some of these institutions which you have said was created because of CARICOM, how that was established, when, and what role CARICOM had in establishing them. There are many more concerns to prove that we had to go back to the drawing board. And if we had to have transformation in the real stuff, we have to do it in the right way, to have a revolutionary mind and a revolutionary government, a revolutionary period going forward, and not take Susinio and transformation in you. So whatever you give us, we will accept. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you, caller. Thank you also for your contribution this morning. Any response to the caller, Mr. Forrester?
Yes, just to say that I would need to research the date and times that he has made those requests of.
Okay.
I don't have it off the top of my head.
We may have time to maybe entertain one more caller. And caller, good morning and welcome. I would like you to keep your comments pretty short because we do strap for time. Good morning and go right ahead with your contribution, please.
Morning. Yeah, I just want to make a shorty. What I think about the date, maybe it's just a coincidence, but I think that we'll get a lot of fire. But what we have to think about is, because of the name United States, some people are against it. But what we have to think of maybe it is the right thing to do or the right way to go. Think about it. How many thousand Grenadians in America? If it's 50, if it's 10, we have the same amount of all these Caribbean countries in the United States of America. Grenadians in America is one of the backbone of the horticulture in Grenada, not tourism. Tourism supposed to come third. Then secondly, look at it at the bigger picture. The economic spin-off in America for the 4th of July is so much a big financial expense and spending of money. If we all cooperate to that, we too in the Caribbean could look after the economic spin-off we can bring for us and create more transportation and all the things we're looking for. It's just a date. Let's forget this. We're going to bring this American system into the same slavery thing and fighting over one. Look at all the security system in the Caribbean is under American governance, finance. Or look, they just talk about the Coast Guard, all these things. So if we are all together, think about the economic spin-off we could think. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Mr. Forrester, we're about to wrap this morning, but I would like you to give just a quick review of the celebrations that are coming up. I guess we kick off from the 29th up until the 3rd before we take a wrap this morning.
Thank you very much, GT. On the June 29, you have the CARICOM Single Market and Economy engagement with students. And then Sunday, July 2nd, there's a road relay in conjunction with the Grenada Athletic Association. And the relay route is from the Stadium car park onto Melville Street, through the tunnel, through the Carnage, Tantine area, Paddock, Springs, Woodlands, Grandlands Valley. You go up and down Maurice Bishop Highway onto Montrouge Loop, and then onto Montrouge Plainfield. That's on Sunday, July 2nd. And on Monday, July 3rd, there is the flag-raising ceremony at the Botanical Gardens. Then there will be a fitness walk and cultural extravaganza. That fitness walk starts at the Ministerial Complex at 2:30 on Monday, July 3rd, and ends at Camon Park. And at the park, there is going to be a cultural event, including music, dancers, and of course there will be cuisine from various CARICOM countries. It starts at 3 o'clock there and ends at about 6:30 p.m. July 4th, Tuesday, July 4th, has been declared a public holiday.
All right, I want to say thanks again, Mr. Forrester, for being with us this morning, and thanks for sharing information that you did share with us this morning, and certainly hope we can do this again. Have yourself a great day, sir. Thanks once again for being on To The Point.
Thank you. Thank you very much, JG. It's been a pleasure.
As always. Hey, folks, that's how we take a wrap for today's program. I want to thank all who contributed this morning, whether via phone calls, you sat at home and you listened, you viewed via GBN TV. Thank you so much. Join us again for another edition of To The Point. Take care of yourself and others. Have yourself a good one, folks. That's what we say goodbye for today.